Continuing with Chapter 1, Lesson 1, we are going to look at some preferences. So if you notice that our background is this kind of mid-tone gray color, the reason for that is because Adobe Premiere is trying to give something to our eyes that won't make them tired. Bright white kind of makes your eyes tired, and also it affects your judgment with color correction. So you want this more neutral background because that way your eyes are not overly exhausted or tinted towards a different color. So if the background was a pink or a green, you may feel more compelled to make something brighter in green category to get it to be more vibrant. So that also can affect color correcting. However, some people may not like this exact tone of gray, and that's quite all right. The book allows us to do some adjustments. So if we come to Edit and then Preferences, and if you're using a Mac, you would want to go to Preferences and Appearance. So Premiere Pro, Preferences and Appearance for Mac, or Edit, Preferences, and then we're going to come to Appearance here if you're using a PC. So make sure you're checking out the book if you are running a Mac. Some of you are, and that's perfectly fine. Okay, so when Preferences open, it has 3 sliders here. And right now they are set to their default settings, but I'm going to slide them around so you can see what they do. This first one is going to affect the gray tone that you see for the background. And you can make it significantly lighter if you want. I kind of like where it was. That's the default. And each person, again, this is customization for you to enjoy working in the software. This next one is going to be the controls. So notice as I'm sliding this back and forth that the words are getting brighter. And you can kind of see here in the sample. This here is going to do the box that's highlighted. So remember when I said make sure your timeline's highlighted, that's what this is affecting. It's affecting that outline. So if you're having trouble seeing them, you could make those lighter and they may show up a little bit easier. I'm perfectly happy with the defaults, so I can put all those back. You also can come down and hit cancel so none of your changes are applied. One other thing the book talks about is autosave. Hopefully when you go to autosave, this here first box is already checked. Right now mine saves every 15 minutes. If you are working during a thunderstorm or you don't have a backup battery, you may want to change this to save more frequently. Also, it will give you iterations of your save. So mine's set up to do 20, and once it's done 20 saves, it will go back and start overwriting those auto saves that's done. But if for some reason your computer crashed or the power went out and it turned off, I would have only lost 15 minutes of work. I would not have lost an hour or 2 hours. That's happened before and it's awful. So this is a nice little feature. Make sure that is checked. You could back up to the Creative Cloud if that's in your best interest, if you don't have much storage space on your own computer. And then auto save the current projects. So it would make like a extra emergency file. But right now, the way this is all I need, and then I can hit cancel because I haven't made any changes. But I wanted you guys to know that autosave is there. Hopefully that first one is checked for you. Okay, another thing that we can do, we've talked about shortcut keys. So certain things, I've mentioned J, K, and L help you with playing your timeline. There are other ones, and the I and the O are related. I is in and O is out. Back in the celluloid film day, that's kind of where those came from. So if I wanted to be at the beginning of any one specific clip, like this one, I'll choose in. And if I wanted to go to the end and choose out, you can now see I've put in a marker for in and out, and that has made one area. This would then give me another option when I went to File and Export Media. I could choose this in and out sequence versus the entire sequence. But when you had done yours, you probably want the whole thing. You can hit Control-Shift-I and Control-Shift-O to clear those out. there's also buttons up here that will allow you to do some of that as well. And we'll get more into that. But I wanted to talk about these shortcuts because the book itself is talking about how to edit your keyboard shortcuts. So you come up to edit and then keyboard shortcuts, and if it's on a Mac, you have probably a little bit different path. Once I click that, you can see that this nice colored board comes up. And some of the ones that you'll use the most often is what I'm going to mess with, so you have an idea how to map a shortcut. Right now you can see the selection tool is set to shortcut V, and it says selection tool right here as I hover over that part. C is my razor tool. So if I wanted my razor to take over the spot of V, I would left click it and drag it right onto here. Now you can see it says razor tool instead of selection tool. To put it back, I can do the same process, and now it's back. As you click on these different tools, you can also see information comes up on the right side. These are multiple commands assigned to one tool. So depending on how you use it, so if you use Control V, that would be pasting, just like you would do in like Microsoft Word. So you could use Control C, which is copy, and then Control V is paste. So when you're holding more than one key, you can get some other options with some of these shortcuts. This color code stuff also, they sell custom keyboards that are color coded and marked like this to help you remember all these shortcuts. The best thing you can do is kind of just make note of, keep trying to use them. You're more than welcome to get a keyboard if you want. I don't have one, but I've also gotten familiar with them and I don't need it. But again, you don't always have to use shortcuts. You can go in and choose the tools from the tools panel, and there's no problem. I find myself using shortcuts because they make me faster. But like I said, you just drag these up and you can make changes that way. I'm just going to hit cancel because I haven't done anything of significant value here, but that's how you would change them. And I believe we are now to the end of chapter 1. And we're going to keep building on the stuff that we're learning. So we will get more into some of the depth of Premiere Pro. Hopefully this will at least make you comfortable with some of the terminology and where some of the items are.